Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Monday, March 6th. I'm your host, Kate Walker. A protest was held in Halifax today after an incident that happened last week at Park West School. Around 50 demonstrators gathered outside the office of the Education Department today, demanding an apology and investigation over what they call an act of discrimination on Multicultural Day. It's alleged during the celebrations at Park West, students of Palestinian descent were told to remove their traditional pieces of clothing, specifically a keffiyeh, a traditional headdress worn in parts of the Middle East.
The kids were asked to remove keffiyeh. The principal told them this represents war color, and if they are not doing it, they will be sent to the principal office. So, actually, keffiyeh is a cultural, traditional scarf for us. It symbolizes our identity.
Protesters say they're handing the education minister a letter demanding a federal investigation into what was behind the alleged request from the principal. The Halifax Regional Centre for Education issued a statement after the incident, saying that there are no bans on what students choose to wear. An update from the housing market now. Latest numbers show Nova Scotia's housing market is cooling down. That's according to the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors. Sales of homes in the province were down nearly 30% between February 2023 and February 2022. Average prices dropped nearly 5% during the same time period, and while that may seem like a steep drop, that's comparing to historic highs in sales and house prices through 2021 and 2022. The Nova Scotia Association of Realtors president says that it's leveling out to the, quote, new normal for Nova Scotia. That new normal still sees prices significantly elevated from 5 years ago. Higher interest rates are not having the dramatic effect in this market that we're seeing in areas like Toronto and Vancouver, where bubbles are being burst. In Nova Scotia, fraudsters took at least $3.6 million from residents in 2022, a new high and about one-third more than the previous year. The RCMP's Financial Crime Unit says the number could be even higher due to victims not wanting to report out of embarrassment or not knowing they were scammed, and suggests that only 10% of victims report being scammed. Based on dollar losses, the top 10 scams in the province in 2022 were investments, romance, prize, spear phishing, vendor fraud, job, service, extortion, merchandise, and emergency. The police have been focusing on educating the public on the signs of being scammed and advise people not to send money to someone they've never met and not provide personal or financial information to unknown callers, texters, or emailers. The iconic sailing vessel, the Bluenose 2, is undergoing quite the inspection in order to identify any potential problems before they become a major issue. The inspection includes the evaluation of the ship's hull, masts, spars, and rigging, as well as an assessment of the condition of the keel and deck. The inspection is being conducted by a team of experienced shipwrights from the Lunenburg Shipyard Alliance and is expected to take several weeks. The goal is to ensure that the Bluenose 2 remains in the safe and reliable condition that Nova Scotians have come to expect. Business owners in Falmouth, Nova Scotia are expanding their music and bike shop at the Spoken Note. They're now marking nearly 5 years of striking the right chord with customers. SaltWire's Carol Morris Underhill has more on the unique shop that marries the love of cycling and music.
The owners of the Spoken Note have been striking the right chord with customers since launching their business nearly 5 years ago. Ashley and Tony Wood's enterprise marries a love of cycling and music. Last year, they moved from their cramped quarters in downtown Windsor to a spacious location in Falmouth. They're excited about their future.
It means a lot. For one, huge support from the community that we wouldn't be able to do what we do without people thinking locally, and that goes for all aspects of our business, maybe the cycling side or the music side or the things in between. So huge props to everyone who supports us. 5 years in, having to expand is that we're doing something right. So there's been a void in the community for, I guess, music, cycling, and those services that fall underneath that umbrella as well. So yeah, we'll continue to try to do things we love, but also that serve the community at the same time.
The couple hope to continue expanding their business, offering cycle tourism this spring. In Falmouth, this is Carol Morris-Underhill reporting for the SaltWire Network.
It's time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with Sylvain Charlebois about food inflation and Canada's food price report.
If you have the money, you can afford it. If you don't have the money, none of this seems fair. And that's a difficult position for people to be in.
I think the committee has to has to ask itself one question. How do we make Canada a more competitive market? Look at what happened to Nordstrom last week. Look at what happened to Target in 2014. Canada is an expensive place to do business in. We don't have one Canada. We have several provinces with different set of rules, and the Atlantic pays a dear price because we actually truck in most of the food we consume. It's really expensive in our region. Why? Because we don't really have a strategy for our agri-food sector, and distribution is really complicated from one province to another. Think of interprovincial barriers. You and I, we've spoke about this several times. It does end up costing money to companies. Walmart is an exception because they actually incrementally grew over time when they entered the market in 1994. Target just decided to invade Canada to its detriment. They just left months later. And so we need to recognize that. Well, how do we actually make Canada a more competitive place? And I think really we need to ask ourselves questions about barriers, labor costs, the red tape that actually happens, the different set of rules. In America, it's much easier to do business from one state to another, not in Canada.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinions section of saltwire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
It was a gold medal performance for 18-year-old skip Kayla McIsaac and Team Nova Scotia at the Canada Games. They beat British Columbia 7-3 to capture the gold medal, and the skip was kind of at a loss for words.
It's a feeling I've never felt before. We had a rough go, in a past few nationals, losing in the semis, and to finally get to the final, and win it is unreal feeling.
This is something McIsaac and his rink have been working towards a long time.
No, we've played pretty consistent all week. We worked hard for this, practicing almost every day of the week for many years. Me, my lead, and second have been together for 7 or 8 years now, and so to win it with these guys, it's really special.
Congratulations to Coach Craig Burgess, skip Kaylin McIsaac, and the entire Nova Scotia Canada Games curling rink on capturing gold. In Halifax, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now to see what's coming up in the forecast. We're going to check in now with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders.
Thanks, Kate, and welcome back. Well, we did have some periods of flurries and light snow around today thanks to low pressure that was retrograding back into the region. That will be the trend as we go through much of the week as a block has set up over Greenland. This evening we'll have mainly cloudy skies with a chance of flurries and the temperature near -2 and waking up near -4 on Tuesday morning. Mainly cloudy with a chance of flurries, but overall a low chance, and I do think the chance will be low throughout the day on our Tuesday, and we'll hold on to mainly cloudy skies heading up to a high of 2 degrees. There will be another pulse of energy that does move in Tuesday night through Wednesday. More flurries mixing with some showers as temperatures warm up. The good news, unless you are a fan of storms, no major storms in the forecast for this week. We'll just be dealing with troughs of low pressure that will be retrograding back into the region, keeping the pattern overall unsettled. Kate.
Thank you, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to saltwire.com. And you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.